Well, hello, everybody. This is Bret Norman, and today is Tuesday, December 26, 2017. And I have a conversation that Jörg and I had done before a Codeword Barbelon session the other day on the 24th of December. And I just decided to make a video out of this and put it up just out of faith that someone out there might want to hear it. And so I'm going to add a couple of music videos to the beginning and the end of this session. And these are music videos that I made in 2015, late 2015, after Pope Francis had visited a joint session of Congress. And the music that I used is not my own. It's Tangerine Dream, I believe, from an old production they did back in the early 80s called Exit, I believe. This first track is Q Mission, I believe is the name of the track, and I forget the name of the second one. But the first one is Jeremiah chapter 17. So if you have a Bible, you can open that up, read it on your own. That's an incredible chapter of the Bible. And then also the final video there after the conversation is the same music, Tangerine Dream, with reading of what was it? Revelation chapter 13. So anyway, hope you enjoy it. Leave any comments and let me know what you think. I know that the music might be too loud for some of you. It was just the spirit that hit me when I did those a couple years ago. I thought I'd put them up just for fun. And no big deal if you know, it doesn't work for you. I'm not here to please everybody, but the spirit moves me to do things like this back in those days, and I still like what I did, so that's the reason I'm posting it. But please feel free to make any comments, and I'll catch up with you guys soon, and I'll be working on that Codeword Barbelon number 3 video tonight. So, very good. Bye-bye.
The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron, and with a point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart, and upon the horns of your altars. Whilst their children remember their altars, and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills, O my mountain in the field, I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin throughout all thy borders. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knewest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Thus saith the Lord, Cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land, and not inhabited. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope the Lord is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be fearful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. The heart is deceitful above all things, and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways, and according to the fruit of his doing. As the partridge sitteth on eggs, and hatcheth them not, so he that getteth riches, and not by right, shall leave them in the midst of his days, and at his end shall be a fool. A glorious high throne from the beginning is the place of our sanctuary. O Lord, the hope of Israel, all that forsake thee shall be ashamed, and they that depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken the Lord, the fountain of living water. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for thou art my praise. Behold, they say unto me, where is the word of the Lord? Let it come now. As for me, I have not hastened from being a pastor to follow thee, neither have I desired the woeful day. Thou knowest, that which came out of my lips was right before thee. Be not a terror unto me. Thou art my hope in the day of evil. Let them be confounded that persecute me, but let not me be confounded. Let them be dismayed, but let not me be dismayed. Bring upon them the day of evil, and destroy them with double destruction. Thus said the Lord unto me, Go and stand in the gate of the children of the people, whereby the kings of Judah come in, and by the which they go out, and in all the gates of Jerusalem, and say unto them, Hear ye the word of the Lord, ye kings of Judah, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem that enter in by these gates. Thus saith the Lord, Take heed to yourselves, and bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring it in by the gates of Jerusalem. Neither carry forth a burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day, neither do ye any work, but hallow ye the Sabbath day, as I commanded your fathers. But they obeyed not, neither inclined their ear, but made their neck stiff, they might not hear, nor receive instruction. And it shall come to pass, if ye diligently hearken unto me, saith the Lord, to bring in no burden through the gates of this city on the Sabbath day, but hallow the Sabbath day, to do no work therein, then shall there enter into the gates of this city kings and princes sitting upon the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, they and their princes, the men of Judah, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and this city shall remain forever. And they shall come from the cities of Judah, and from the places about Jerusalem, and from the land of Benjamin, and from the plain, and from the mountains, and from the south, bringing burnt offerings, and sacrifices, and meat offerings, and incense, and bringing sacrifices of praise unto the house of the Lord. But if ye will not hearken unto me, to hallow the Sabbath day, and not to bear a burden, even entering in at the gates of Jerusalem on the Sabbath day, then will I kindle a fire in the gates thereof, and it shall devour the palaces of Jerusalem, and it shall not be quenched.
I was looking on the internet the other day on news. I just typed in Norway and hit news. And there was this general that was warning his troops about the coming war. And yeah, I think that our country is really on the verge of actually creating a very desperate situation very soon, and I think it's all being orchestrated. What do you think, Jörg?
Well, you just listened to the first few minutes of the recording of today of part 16 of the book reading of Martin Luther, eh?
Yeah, the first 6 minutes, or 7.
At the end, I spoke about what you bring up right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, listen, in the book, Martin Luther takes some kind of a conversation where he takes the role of the Pope also.
Mm.
And, well, let me see where is that. I'm going to read that to you. Well, says the Pope, I don't understand the pasturing that way, in Matthew 16:18. Dear little Virgin Pope, how do you understand it then? This way, the Pope replies, I thought that I would terrify all the kings and the whole world in St. Peter's name, so that they would submit themselves to be pastured under me and serve me, and I would thus become sovereign of the world, and in that way I would rebuild the old Roman Empire in Rome, mightier and greater than it was at the time of Augustus or Tiberius, and I would be called the true Roman Emperor, Lord of Lords, King of Kings, as we can read in Revelation 19 verse 16, as my prophets told me. And then of course I went into explaining to the people that here Martin Luther is actually having a conversation, a fake conversation with the Pope in this book, where the Pope actually explains the New World Order.
Mm-hmm.
Because the New World Order is nothing else but the restoring of the Old World Order. And when the Pope says that I would rebuild the old Roman Empire in Rome, mightier and greater than it was at the time of Augustus and Tiberius, well, that's the New World Order. And
Yes.
I said, you know probably the quote from, I think it was Zbigniew Brzezinski, who said, in the time it was easier to control 1 million people than to kill 1 million people, and today it is easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people.
Exactly.
And the point is that we are going to lose a lot of people in this world, because the papacy can never control 8 billion people in the world, or 7 billion people. It's impossible. Therefore, they need to do what they announce in, the murals at Denver Airport.
Yeah, that's right.
And get rid of a lot of the population of the earth, and that what is left over that will succumb to the New World Order.
Well, and I'm thinking this too, Jörg, is that as we both know, this mouthpiece of the elite, what's their names now? The Economist magazine. Mm-hmm. And that announcement they made back in 1988 on their cover.
About the money from Phoenix from the ashes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how fitting. I mean, it really is going right along that line of predictive programming kind of thing. It's weird, but it really does fit if you put this all together.
Yeah, it does. And they will sell that to the people, of course, as the Great Tribulation before the Rapture,
And the people will buy it.
And the coming of the Antichrist, the Antichrist, the future Antichrist of the Pope does not come in a world with 7 billion people.
Mm-hmm.
He comes to the few afterward that will accept anything and everything, because Protestantism has been rooted out at that time.
Yeah, the Third World War.
Yeah, at the end of that.
Right.
They will place that. So there's no way that we're going to see a quote-unquote fulfilling of the replayed Daniel 70 years week, Daniel 9:24 through 27, in the time when we have as many people in the world as we do have right now, because they are not all going to be deceived.
Mm-hmm.
They first have to get rid of all of them. And they don't only have to get rid of the Protestants and of a lot of other people, but they also have to get rid of a lot of liberal Catholics. I mean, the Catholics that you have in the United States of America, they are no Catholics in the sense of the Council of Trent. And only
that's right. Good point, Jörg.
And only
Good
those
point.
Yeah, and only those Catholics in the sense of the Council of Trent will survive, because they absolutely accept the ultramontanism of the Pope.
like those ones with Bishop Schneider in that video.
Probably people like him, yeah. You know,
Yeah, that's right.
people who
Yeah.
are ultramontane, yeah,
The ultramontane. That's it.
who accept the
Yes.
ultramontane leadership of the Pope, who don't
Yes.
question anything, because
Yes.
liberal Catholics are as worth as Protestants. You know, the Catholics
That's
in the
right.
United States of America, and I think it's good that we are already recording this, so we can use it as
Sure.
an introduction or whatever.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
the Catholic Church in the United States of America has always been another church, but a Roman Catholic Church. It has been an American Catholic Church. It's a little bit in the same as the experiment that went for hundreds of years over here in Europe with France. The Gallic Church, as it is called, the French
Mm.
Roman Catholic, the French Catholics were not really French Roman Catholics because they did not accept the infallibility and the position on the top of the hierarchy of the of the Pope on the top of the
Yes.
Roman Catholic Church. And in the United
Yes.
States of America, we know, because Tom Friess spoke about that, I think, during the Global Vatican, that
Yes.
John Carroll had a conversation with letters with the Pope at that time to tell the Pope, you stay out of America. We over here have to build a Catholic church, but another Catholic church, as the Catholic Church is in Europe, because when we openly come out for our allegiance to you as the leader, then we will then we will have no chance of surviving here in the United States of America, because this is a hostile environment, because we are only 1.5% of the population in the time of 1776. So they needed to found another Catholic church. They needed to found a Catholic church that is more liberal. And the Roman Catholics in the United States of America today, they are used to their freedoms. They are used to the freedom of gathering together, the freedom of free speech, the freedom of the press,
Ah,
as far as it
and
goes.
know,
And this is
and
all,
that goes right along with all the Protestant churches
yes,
because they had Vatican Council II to bring the Catholics and the Protestants on an equal level
yes,
and
you
to
can't.
create ecumenical dialogue.
In the United
So
States of
bingo.
America, you cannot tell the Protestant from the Catholic, because they
No,
have
they're the same
the liberal
almost.
Catholics have the same belief system as the
Yes, they
ecumenical
do.
Protestants, and
Yes, they do.
those are
I am
both
friends with these people.
yeah,
Yes.
and those are both enemies of the ultramontane Roman Catholics, of the Roman
Yes.
Catholics that adhere to the Council of Trent.
But the real kicker is that these liberal Catholics haven't awoken to that yet. They don't want to. It's just like the sleeping Protestants. You got sleeping Catholics that live in La La Land.
Well, listen, Bret, a liberal Catholic is not a Catholic in the Catholic sense.
That's right.
Like a Protestant is not a Christian in the Catholic sense either,
That's right.
right?
Yep.
That's
That's right.
that's because liberalism within the Roman Catholic Church is an impossibility, and therefore you just have to go to the syllabus of errors.
Yes. Yes,
And
that's
this
right.
bull that Pope Pius IX published in 1864, 18
1860
was it 1864?
after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, right at that time.
1864, 1865. So that was even during the Civil War in the United States of America.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah.
No, I think
Okay,
it
I'm
was
not.
1864. Yeah, it was 1864. That was during the Civil War in the United States, which was, of course, a religious war, which nobody ever told you, huh?
Oh, yeah.
The Americans are never told that their quote-unquote Civil War from 1861 to 1865 was a religious war, but it was. It was.
Yeah,
And
isn't that something?
when you read Charles Chiniquy, 50 Years in the Church of Rome, and you read about uh, everything that has to do with the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, which
Mhm.
happened in 1865, then you will understand that. But only then you will understand that. But
Okay,
my
so the Civil War ended in 1865. That's right.
yeah,
Okay.
but my point is that when you are a Roman Catholic who is a liberal, then you are an enemy of the ultramontane Roman Catholics who do not compromise. You know, this is the only thing that Roman Catholicism actually has in common
Uh,
with the Bible. No
See, in
compromise.
April 15, 1865 was the date Abraham Lincoln was assassinated.
Hmm.
Okay. So the date the Civil War ended was May. It was after his death. Isn't that something? I never knew that. Just after his death.
Yeah,
They had to remove Lincoln.
they had to remove Lincoln. Yeah, absolutely.
They
Absolutely.
really had to remove Lincoln at any cost, by any means. And in this state, in Minnesota, in that little town over here, I have a friend of mine who I just gave a Bible to, by the way. He grew up in this area, and he knows these Catholics like you wouldn't believe. And he knows how subtle this thing is, too. So it's really interesting that he's taking a look at the Bible and starting to look at some of the deeper aspects of the Catholic paradox, with Protestantism. It's something else. I mean, wow. There's a lot of history to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of layers to it. It's not just something so simple you can just walk up to. You got to study this.
No, it surely is. And the Roman Catholics of the United States of America will not even understand why they are persecuted, because they think that they are doing a good job for the Pope in Rome. But they are
Yes.
just Ponzis doing their job. And when the Ponzi has done his job, he can be taken out of the way. As Lee Harvey Oswald, for example, was taken out of the way. When he has done his
Yes.
job, let's put him out of his misery.
Yes,
Then we have
that's
nothing to
right.
do with him anymore.
Yep,
The
you are
Roman
dispensable.
The Roman Catholic Church is in that way the same as the Bible. There are no compromises possible. There are no compromises with the Bible possible, because when you compromise the Bible, you leave the path of the truth. And when you compromise Roman Catholicism, you leave the path of the lie. It
You
is,
know, that brings something up. Is when we had this Antichrist speech from Jesuit Pope Francis
September
Jorge
2015.
Mario Bergoglio, yeah, when he came September of 2015, and he spoke to the joint session of Congress,
Mhm.
and I sat down and I listened to that speech. And he talked about the people of Israel and Moses, and then synthesis. My jaw just hit the floor. What is he saying here?
This is a very important speech that he did. Yeah.
It is, and I think that no one has really, had enough ammunition to pull it apart, and it's not something I want to butcher either, because but you just can't help but think, well, what on earth? He's using these philosophies to Congress, and they're just sitting down and they're not protesting at all here. I mean, this has been set up. I mean, obviously, the people of America just don't register with who the Pope really represents, what he really represents historically. And I never did either till, I started listening to you and Tom in 2015, I think it was. And I was just floored.
Yeah, we met in July 2015.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was in the beginning of the year 2015 when you were going to post that video on when the lamb speaks like a dragon.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. I think that was in February or something. Yeah.
that just blew my mind, and it still does.
Yeah.
But I think you have to prepare your soil that way, Jörg. It's not something that, you just can't walk up to this and see it that way unless you're prepared, unless you know who the occult are, how they work, how deeply entrenched they are in our society at this present day.
Well, shall I tell you something about preparing, Bret?
Please.
I read today the 16th part of the Luther book against the Roman papacy and institution of the devil. And it's been about a week or so since my last reading, and I didn't feel well about that. So during the week, I think a day or three ago, I sat myself down, closed the door, and wanted to start reading, where I left off on page 353.
Mm-hmm.
And I started reading for about 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and then I shut the recording down. I just wasn't in the right mood. Something was missing. Yesterday, on the Sabbath, we did a Bible study together with Tom Fress.
Yep.
And we were reading, among others, Ephesians 6. Put
Yes.
on the whole armor of God. You remember?
Oh, absolutely.
And we were speaking about the 7 points, the 7 weapons, let's call them, that are making the whole armor of God in Ephesians 6.
Yes.
You remember that, right?
I have notes on that, yes.
Yeah, you have notes on that. I have the Bible here in front of me, so I will fast look that up. It's Ephesians 6 verse 12 starts with, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in the high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand." And during the reading today, so I felt much better in the starting of the reading, but during the reading today, I knew all of a sudden, I can't tell you why exactly, therefore you have to listen to the whole video, the 16th reading of the Martin Luther book against the Roman papacy and institution of the devil. I don't know at what part exactly, but all of a sudden I was so glad that yesterday we had this Bible study.
Yes.
And I fell back to Ephesians 6, and I told the people, well, you guys in America, I think that was about when I was speaking about, that they have to get rid of a lot of billion people in this earth because killing people is easier than controlling them nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, and you
right.
in America, you are so proud on your Second Amendment, the right to bear arms.
Yes.
But the only arms that you should wear is the whole armor of God. So what is the
Right.
whole armor of God? And I counted out these 7 points. Yeah? Gird
Right.
yourself with truth, the breastplate of righteousness, have your feet shod with the gospel of peace, you have the shield of faith, you take the helmet of salvation, the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, and praying always with prayer and supplication. 7 points that we counted out yesterday. I'm so, and this is what I wanted to say about preparation, about the right moment. I wanted to read this part of the book during the week, and it just didn't feel right. I just didn't get the rhythm. I didn't feel it. I was reading, but I didn't feel it. So I shut it down after 10, 12 minutes, something.
Right.
And today, the Spirit was there. Because I had this understanding from the Bible study that I had from yesterday when we were learning together. And
Right.
read, among others, Ephesians chapter 6. And that is what I want to tell about preparation.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.